Hello and welcome to yet another Eurovision release video. It's the first in quite some time in which I'm talking, and we've just a few weeks to go till Eurovision, 2 weeks tomorrow to be precise, and the rehearsal starting. It's time for me to make some petitions. This is going to be using the two app, and it's going to I'm going to explain everything I'm going to be doing here. I've manually put the points for each country, televote, public, each semi-final, the grand final. You're going to see how it's going to add up. Let's start it with semi-final one, the jury vote. Finland are top here because they have a jury-friendly song and they have a lot of allies in the semi-final. They do get two points from Sweden, from Lithuania, from Portugal. Obviously, they also get points from every other nation, and yeah, they seem to have pretty high scores all around. As we can see, I try to keep it not as far away from yeah, from the predicted results. For example, Finland giving 2 points to Sweden, or Montenegro and Serbia, or you'll see Cyprus and Greece in the grand final eventually. Yeah, Montenegro or Romania or Moldova, for example. Montenegro do get 108 points because while it might not seem as the best most jury friendly song, the Tamara does sing pretty uh, good, and she's got vocals. She's got Duspar from Italy and Serbia, of course, and she's got a lot of allies here. Serbia too, they have an opportunity to score very highly, and they do with 98 points. Lithuania has 95 points, not scoring from every nation, but usually getting pretty good points. For example, 10 from Poland, the 12 from San Marino, 10 from Portugal, and also from Estonia and Georgia. Sweden. Sweden you'd expect to get a better position, you'd say, but at the same time, they don't. They're in the point for every nation. They don't have to complain. They have a slump in the middle with 3 points from Serbia, 3 from Belgium, and only 1 from Montenegro and Estonia. Of course, controversially, but I thought like the Baltic should be a little bit distance from the Scandinavian countries, but they do then get 12 points from Georgia, Finland, and Germany, so that's a plus. Croatia, 90 points, 12 points from Moldova, and again getting points from every country, getting pretty consistent points, and they're usually around, I don't know, 5 average, I don't know, 5 points, 5 points is their average per competitor. Greece again doesn't get points from pretty much every other country, and that when they get points, they get pretty high points. The 12 points from Estonia, kinda controversially, 8 points from Croatia, Finland, and Israel. I think Israel, I know, has bits of connection with Greece. I think that's Croatia, of course, with Greece because they're both Balkan nations. Finland and Sweden because I think it's fun. We've seen all the countries allocate points to Balkan states in the last few years. Pretty much every year they get the top 5 result in those countries results. Belgium 8th year. This might not seem because Sila doesn't sing that, or hasn't sang that well. The voice Belgic, but I think she can recover, and I think that this is a jury friendly song. I think 12 points from Poland is pretty good, and I do think they're going to finish with 63 points. Israel with 53 points now. Well, this might seem as a likely competitor in the public vote. I don't think it's going to be that highly ranked in the jury vote. But again, things will change come the final. Um, and they do get to spawn from Greece. Again, you can see Greece got 8 points from Israel. Israel got 12 points from Greece. You see how things are starting to set up. Moldova, 51 points. Why? Because they only got points from what, 6 countries, but 10 points from Serbia, 12 from Croatia, and 12 from Israel. Means that they are in a qualifying spot with the juries, which might not seem likely. At the same time, Portugal, 43 points only from the jury, though it is a pretty good and pretty really sung song, and is a jury friendly song. They get 12 points from Belgium, but I do think it lacks that hype to impress the younger audience, the younger jury audience, the 18, 25 year olds that are going to be starting this year. Poland, 10 points from Belgium. Yeah, Belgium did give points to non-qualifiers with the jury, but yeah, this is based on vocals, but it's going to, it's mixture of different styles is probably not gonna be that much in favor of a good jury result. Georgia, of course, isn't based on the jury; it's based on the public's rating, and you can see here what happens when they don't really get that much attention from the jury. San Marino do get 10 points from Italy, obviously, but otherwise they're in the same position, 21 points, not good. Now, Estonia, you might argue that with all of these Nordic countries, they will get more points. I don't think they'll get that many. And I do think that even though they sing it pretty well, Vanilla and Asia are not going to benefit out of this vote. Let's move on to the televote. And we're going to see here Greece first with 12 points from Portugal, Belgium, Moldova, Georgia, Croatia, and that's it. And also top 10 or top 3 results from San Marino, rest of the world, and Israel. Yeah, only 1 point above Finland, who themselves have a pretty good public result. They won the semi-final, obviously, as you're going to see. Moldova 124 points. This might not be what people expected from Moldova, but I do think it is possible. At least in the semi-final, you're going to see it drop a bit. I mean, a bit. It's going to be less than 100 points in the final, but who knows? They got some pretty good scores here. Israel, their influence is gonna be not gonna be as high as the previous 2 years. They're still going to get something from that, from that political voting, and also because the song, I think it's better than the last 2 editions, and it's closer to what they should really focus on. Um, Sweden only 98 points. They're third in the My Scoreboard app, but they only get those points from Poland. They do get some pretty good results from other countries, and after all, 98 from the public in the semi-final is not shabby at all. Only 36 points of Greece, but yeah, still room to and for improvement. Croatia 95, Montenegro 89, and Serbia 70 all go in the same boxes, heavily influenced by that Balkan group, and it's not as influential for Montenegro or Serbia as the public one, as the jury one, but it's still enough to get them to a safe qualifying position. Lithuania They get 12 points from Estonia and Finland. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Finland. Um, when they get 58 points, wouldn't that be enough to qualify? You're going to see it. Yes, it is, of course, because they got a very high jury vote. Georgia, they do get sufficient enough result to get. They actually get 12 points from the rest of the world to get in the top 10 in the public. They would have qualified last year. Will they still qualify? You're going to see. Uh, Estonia have a better public vote than the jury vote. I think this might be nostalgic to those people from back in the day when they represented, when Vanilla Ninja represented Switzerland, and the people born and raised in that period. San Marino 17, Belgium 14, Portugal 12. They all seem to get pretty low points. And Poland with 10. Sally, I don't think it's the best of uh, publicly promoted songs. I don't think it's going to be that influential. So here are the final results. Finland, Greece, and Montenegro are the top three in the semi-final. Montenegro, you're probably wondering what's he doing here. You're going to see Sweden, Croatia, Moldova, Serbia, Israel, Lithuania, and Belgium do by 5 points get through in place of in 10th place ahead of Georgia, country which does not go through. Neither do Portugal, Poland, Estonia, and San Marino, but this was close between Belgium and Georgia. What promoted Belgium had was a better jury score, and I think what's going to happen, of course, but because that's my prediction. But things could change. I could somehow it's got 1 trillion chance, but I could predict exactly what the results are going to be, or it could be 100% wrong and we see a upside down scoreboard. Probably not. There's a very, very, very small chance of that happening, but who knows? Yeah, you can see here that basically the expected qualifiers have qualified, maybe in an expected order. And now let's look at the scores and the ranks. For example, San Marino are 14th in the juries with the juries and 12th with the televote, partially because of Boy George, but that's not really going to um, not to affect them that much. Um, Estonia do not qualify with either neither of the public or the jury. Same for Poland, same for Portugal. Georgia do qualify with the public, as we saw, but they do not with the juries. Actually, Belgium and Georgia end up in the same place, 13th place in jury and respectively the public, but Belgium had a better ranking from the part of the vote where they qualified. Lithuania have a pretty good result. Now, do have to point out something here. Serbia are more favored by the jury than the public. This might be controversial. This is my prediction. Moldova heavily influenced by the jury. Montenegro again by the public, and then Montenegro by the jury. And Greece goes second because of winning the televote. The jury in the second semi-final. Australia, of course, as expected, is first with 12 points from Switzerland. Czechia, Armenia, and Britain. In general, you're going to see semi-finals. They're not going to get a lot of those points. Denmark and Czechia are second and third as expected. Ukraine fourth and Romania fifth also get past 100 points for the juries, and this is going to be controversial because a lot of people think that Romania is not, and also Albania, but we'll get Albania later. Romania is not that jury friendly of a song, but it does get 12 points from Australia, Albania, and Bulgaria, Balkan nations, and then Australia. because I thought it would be fun. That you know, Australia has the opportunity to vote for a country which doesn't usually get, and I thought we could get them. Malta is only seventh with the jury, which is quite surprising, but they do get two sets of 12 points, and they are generally only. We can see the closeness here, only 12 points of second place. Latvia with 89, again a bit underrated. You could say Cyprus is 71, kind of expected 12 points from Malta because they're kind of close and they have a pretty good relationship. Switzerland 45 points, Norway 30. Kind of expected. Bulgaria have a low jury score because this is not a jury friendly song. Azerbaijan, um, they have some pretty good vocals, so they might get a few points. But the song is pretty bad, let's be honest. Luxembourg and then Armenia is last. Armenia, yeah. Armenia is probably the least jury friendly song of the entire group. I think our contest this year. Public wise, Denmark 144 points to the public victory, a televote victory in the semi-final. Romania second, Ukraine third. Yeah, you might say that Romania is a bit favorized because I'm Romanian, but as we're going to see, and as you see, we only got one set of Duspa from Bulgaria. Ukraine, that I mean, it's a good song for yeah, it's a good song. And then diaspora, very good diaspora. Cyprus and Bulgaria, again, a very good Balkan, Southern European group that heavily favors them. Malta actually get a better score by placement, not by points, than the jury score. That is something that they are going to be happy with because they reached the public. Norway have a massively improved uh, public score. I think is what is going to happen. Albania, kind of there, what they're about. They do give 12 points from Australia, another pretty random 12 points, you could say. Armenia, 58 points. They do qualify with the public. However, they have a pretty bad jury score. Latvia do barely qualify with the public, and now this is the talking point. Australia and Czechia, they're only 11th and 12th with the public. You're going to see that Australia actually has a pretty good change for their sake in the final, but yeah, not what you wanted. They get one set of 12 points from France, but yeah, not what they wanted. And Czechia, it's not that more public friendly of a song, and you can see that. Luxembourg, Switzerland, and Azerbaijan, obvious reasons, everybody doesn't think they'll qualify, so they are pretty much last. There is no 0 points. So here are the full results: Denmark, Romania, Ukraine, Malta, Austria that dropped to fifth, but they still do qualify by a margin. Cyprus, Albania, Czechia again qualified by some points. Latvia, and then 10th and 11th, Norway and Bulgaria. Norway qualifies in place of Bulgaria by 1 point because of remember they're pretty close in both the jury and the public. You're going to see the analysis in a few moments time. Armenia do have a relevant public score, but the jury score is not it. Switzerland have a relevant jury score, but their public score is not it. And Luxembourg and Armenia, Azerbaijan, sorry, and are just there, dead. Not the last, but you get some points, but yeah, no. As you're going to see, even though Bulgaria were 9 points ahead of Norway with the public, They were 10 points behind with the jury, and I think that made a difference. They were very closely matched. And if this actually happens, I mean, you haven't seen a 1 point qualification in a long, long time. Last year it was like 3 points for San Marino in front of Cyprus, I think. So, you know, that's something, but is it gonna be much closer than that? Again, Australia and Czechia would not have qualified with the public, and or maybe I would. I don't know. Do we actually count here? Do we actually count Latvia or Australia? Then if it's by number of 12 points, then they're close. Match was the most 7 points. Yeah, I think it should be Latvia ahead of Australia. I think the system has got it right. Yeah, shout out to the spots app for helping me make this thing. I mean, everybody uses that app, and it's pretty common in the Eurovision fan base. Um, yeah, you see the full results again. Yeah, this Maltese thing, they had 2 points more than 2 points more from the jury than from the public, but they had the lower placement, so that's an improvement. Now let's move to the jury in the grand final. Australia, 288 points. They had this big thing here where they got only 12th, 8th, 10th, and 8th, and they continued on. And even though they kind of went into, they didn't do as well in the last few votes, they still got a near 300 score, and that's pretty good. Finland, 226 points, and Denmark, 213. As expected, these songs are with vocals, with good vocals. If they allow Linda to play the violin live, it's going to be interesting. France only 190 points, because I do think this is getting kind of repetitive at Eurovision. I don't think everybody will appreciate it. Now let's move on to fifth place, Romania, and you're probably wondering how the hell did Romania get to fifth in the jury, and let me explain it with the public. We are talking about something, good vocals. Oh, I think people are going to anticipate that this does, and have anticipated that this does badly with the jury, but I do think it's going to score pretty good points with the jury. Croatia, Czechia, Malta, Montenegro, Serbia, the same from the semi-finals. Lithuania, Sweden, Albania, Moldova, Israel, UK actually get 32 points, something for Lukman on computer. Norway, Latvia, Greece, only 29 points. Hold on to that. Cyprus 25, Ukraine 21, Belgium 18, no, Germany 18, Belgium 16. Not what they wanted after qualifying with the juries in the semi-final. Again, Ukraine have a pretty low public jury score, but they're going to make up for it with the public. You're going to see Italy only 14 points, kind of controversially, and Austria, would you believe it, they're last on home soil again. That's not a public friendly song. Yeah, up next we've got the televote. Wow, who would you think won it? Greece get 300 points exactly after a good second half of the vote, and they got pretty bad jury vote, so they'll not be competing for a win, but they got the public vote, the public's approval. Finland will get second, and Denmark again closely third. This is going to be crucial. Romania in fourth, they're fourth in the My Scoreboard app. They're going to be fourth here. Sweden actually beaten out potential for the public vote, 121 points behind Greece. Israel is sixth. They're not going to have that much of influence. France seventh. They do get some points from the public. I think Ukraine eighth. Again, they compensate for their low jury score. Australia do get 9 after placing 11th in the semi-final. You can see the progression here with 12 points from Georgia and Switzerland. Croatia, Albania, Moldova follow. Moldova, again, they don't have that very influential public vote that they had in the semi-final, or that people seem to think that they will have. Cyprus, again, doesn't have the best public vote compared to the semi-final. Montenegro and Serbia are kind of there or thereabout. And yeah, you can see the four results here. With Norway last with 7 points. And then the four results, Finland win it by only 18 points, with a score 1 point lower than last year and 4 points lower than Ukraine's public total in 2022. Denmark are 18 points behind, as previously said. Australia, they do get third place. Romania do get fourth, kind of controversially. Greece fifth, France sixth, Sweden seventh, Croatia eighth, Israel ninth, and by the skin of their teeth, Czechia get 10th. And Austria gets last, Tom again. No more than 17 countries scored more than 100 points. To see how close it was, look at from 17th place to 14th place, they're like 6 points, and then very close, very close for even up top. I mean, 18 points is, I think, one of the closest margins in recent years. And finally, we have the full rankings. I now the full rankings with the placement in the jury and public. I think it's safe to say that Finland, they get Duncan Lawrence. Actually, no, Duncan Lawrence was third with the jury. Yamala, like victory second in both the jury and the public. Denmark third in both the jury and the public, second overall. You know, they could have done something. These are heavily beaten out, and they're just out of contention after that jury that vote. France actually do not get as bad of a public vote as they think, but they do get a pretty low jury vote compared to the public's perception. And yeah, we can see here those were a lot of points, and I manually allocated them, so it took me some time. Anyways, that's the video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and goodbye.